Hi, it's Jane, and I don't know, haven't had a whole lot of crochet or knit time. I have been back out doing the bamboo, which, believe it or not, that takes a long time because it takes me about half a morning to cut one section. I have two sections that are really big out there. I've got one section off to the side. Well, that section is the same size as both of these. So it takes me about half a day to get each section cut and then gathered up, because I'm not going to leave it out there to dry out because it'll just spread. You got to get rid of it somehow. You just can't leave it all over the place. Can't burn things, so, that takes a while. And then to take a day to spray everything. So, yeah, that takes up most of my time. I come in, I'm exhausted because it's hot out there. All right, I've not done any more on the romantic ribble blanket. It is still at that same spot where I just started the gentle white. So, I just haven't done anything to that. I did add a ball of blue that I found in the totes that I'm going to add a row somewhere along the way. The only other thing that I've been working on is I have been working on my knitted comfy shawl, or comfy sweater. This is the back. I've got about 2 more inches to do before I'm ready to bind off. The size that I am working on is the 2X size, but she says to go for 39 inches, and I don't want to go 39 inches. That will be well below my rear end, and I just don't want it that long. And that's the good thing about cardigans. You can choose the size you want. So, yeah, I got about 2 more inches to do. And then I'll be ready to start casting on the arms. Most likely when I do the arms, I will probably cast on both arms at the same time on my needles, and we'll work that way. So I can work on, so that they're the equal length is the big thing. I do that sometimes with the sleeves as well, just because I think it works easier, a little bit better. Well, I went to Walmart, folks. And in my Walmart, the Pioneer Woman yarn is marked down, but they haven't had any of the cakes that I really liked. And the one that I liked, they didn't have very much of it. They had another stock in of it. Of course, on the shelf it said it was $3. When I actually got to the register, it rang up as $1.50. So I got 4 of the skeins of that Pioneer Woman yarn. It's acrylic yarn cakes. This one has the red, yellow, light blue, what they call bright blue and deep blue. And it is called Fancy Flourish. So I got 4 of those. I was weak. Really, I was weak. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. I just lost all track of time and sense. But I figure for $6, that's not a bad price, to pick up some yarn. 4 cakes, and I'll be able to use it other places. Did wind up that one Christmas yarn into a cake. Haven't worked any further on those. Other than that, like I said, I've been doing a lot of things around the house, packing things, and of course the whole thing with the dryer. Still looking for a contractor. I've put out a couple of calls to a couple of people. I've had one call. The other fellow answered me by email. He'll come out and look, give me an estimate, and then we'll go from there. You know, I'm going to get 2 estimates because I want to see the difference in the cost. And both of these fellows that I've reached out to that have answered the call are highly recommended by other friends. They've used him. They find that he's honest. He's a good guy. So, yeah, be looking at that. Now, I have been working on some other things in the background that don't know if I'm ready for them to come out. They have to do with my sewing business. And one of those is I was thinking of adding small, well, a lot of people call craft fair bags or phone bags, where they have little pockets in them, not only for your phone, but for you to put some cash and your cards in, that kind of thing. So I've been looking at those, working on a couple of those. I'm not real happy with what I came up with. Does need a little bit of work, so I am working on that to see if I can get it a little more refined and the way that I want it to be. So, because I'm one of those people, when I go to a craft fair, I do not carry a big purse. I just do not. And I don't normally carry a big purse on me anymore. Anyway, normally I just carry a clutch lots of times, or a very small purse that I can just throw across my shoulder, that kind of thing. Don't know what the cat was doing, but Ronan's looking at her like, what are you doing? It's Izzy. She gets a little crazy sometimes. She does some really weird things, you know. She has this bad habit when she is in the litter box. She gets out of the litter box. She doesn't cover her business, but she will scratch at the sides of the box. And I'm like, Izzy, what are you doing? Cat is kind of crazy sometimes like that. You know, and then, of course, Ronan gets in. He covers her business and his business. But she's a little bit of a strange kitty. Very strange kitty. She has this bad habit of coming up to me. She wants to be petted and loved and rubbed. And so when I go to reach down to pet her, I go to scratch her one spot on her back that she likes. And then she rolls away from me and flops because she wants me to rub her belly. And I'm like, I can't reach you over there. What are you doing, Goofy? She finally figures it out, but she's interesting. Ronan, lately, I have a small rug by the side of my bed and dresser. Ronan lately has been sleeping right on that rug. So when I get up in the night to go to the bathroom, I step on him, or almost step on him, you know, because when I start to put my feet down, I feel the fur, so I try to figure out where he's at to move, so I avoid stepping on the cat, and I keep telling him, why are you sleeping there? You know, get up on the bed. He gets in these moods. Sometimes he sleeps on the bed, sometimes he sleeps on that rug. There are times he goes and sleeps on the rug outside of the shower, and I haven't quite figured that out with him yet. But yeah, he's a little strange. I have filmed all the tote videos. They are coming out soon. They're scheduled to come out. I have wound up a bunch of cakes too, here and there. I do plan on doing few more of these crochet or knit with me, you know, while we sit and we talk, that kind of thing. The only other thing is with the healthier you, have a couple of topics that are coming up with that are, I don't know, I find them kind of interesting. And yeah, that's kind of it. And for those of you that don't care to listen to my political rants, when I give those, I will make sure that there is a warning and possibly a timestamp down at the bottom, if at all possible. But I will say, this is my channel. I don't mind telling you my point of view, and I don't judge you for your point of view. You have your reasons, or whoever, and I have my reasons. And that shouldn't stop us from being able to get along, work together, or whatever comes along in our lives. Although I do see that there are a lot of people that are not of the same opinion, that if you don't believe the way that they believe, they got nothing to do with you. And I find that rather interesting, because sometimes these people are the ones that yell the loudest about diversity. You cannot have diversity unless you're willing to learn about another person, their views, their lifestyle, what they've gone through in their life, those kind of things. So, yeah, find that rather interesting. But anyway, that's kind of it for that part. Are you ready for a little what in Tarnation? I know I am. Let me get this pulled up here and we'll get to reading it. And sometimes this iPad's rather slow at times. It can be rather annoying. I think this is the one I want. May not be. Yes, it is. Okay. Now, I saw this story about towards the middle of the week. Went, looked up the story, downloaded it, and then again, there came a story on the news source that I use that basically told the same story. So you're going to get this story twice. However, the second one has video that shows you some of the signs and talks a little bit more about it. Restaurant marquee smack talk sparks sign wars. Viral craze across North Carolina beach town. Dank Burrito and Ione's Grill stand just 40 feet apart, and they've always enjoyed a good buddy rivalry in this laid-back beach town until the great marquee feud began. It started when Clark Merrill of Dank Burrito poked some friendly fun at his neighbor's sign out front, which had carried the same happy birthday message for a month. Ione's, he wrote on Dank Burrito marquee, quit being lazy, change your sign. Bob Ione quickly returned fire. Dank, read their updated sign, we're not lazy, just busier than you. And with those opening shots, Sign Wars 2024 grew to a city-wide smack talk barrage that rages still, catching viral fire and inspiring multiple TikTok songs. Would you go to TikTok and you look up Sign Wars 2024, you can listen to a lot of those songs if you do TikTok. I know a lot of you don't. It just exponentially started getting more crazy, said Merrill. It's insane. Signs of the time. Initially, the roadside taunts stayed between Dank and Ione's. Dank sign? Y'all just look busy 'cause it takes 2 hours for a $1 taco. Ione sign. Dank, can we use your lot? 'Cause you're not. But soon all the neighbors jumped in. from Prime Bistro. Boys, do we need to have a meeting? Meet, M-E-A-T. At Glad Tidings Church. Iones and Dank, let us break bread together. And from EJW Outdoors, guys, do we need to taco about it? To which Dank replied, "Walk off, EJW. This is nacho beef." Everybody got involved, Merrill said. The police department got involved. Coffee shops got involved. Massage parlors. Some people don't have marquees, so they're using cardboard signs. Sam Turnage at Ione said it's reached over 100 businesses. I've seen them as far as Pamlico County. Viral spite, local love. Merrill and Turnage privately chuckle about the intention, which has gotten their sign wars onto local TV broadcasts. We're on the back end laughing at it, Merrill said. It was literally just me talking junk to my buddy, which I always do. But who will make the peace? The battle-weary sides already show a willingness to hear ceasefire terms. It's honestly exhausting, said Merrill. I don't know if you had to change a marquee before, doing all the letters 15 feet high with a pole, but it's a pain in the ass. And from the news source, what I get is sign war between North Carolina eateries spreads to dozens of businesses. A sassy exchange of words on the signs outside 2 North Carolina restaurants has now become a full-blown sign war, with dozens of businesses chiming in. The tongue-in-cheek hassle began when Ione's Grill and Bar in Morehead City left a message, "Happy birthday, Jeff," on its marquee for nearly a month. Neighboring eatery, Dank Burrito, fired off the opening salvo by making its sign read, "Ione's, quit being lazy. Change your sign." Ione's owner, Sam Turnage, fired out, changing the sign to, "Dank, we're not lazy, just busier than you." Dank Burrito, not to be outdone, responded, "Y'all just look busy 'cause it takes 2 hours for a $1 taco." I've seen a lot of people stop and take pictures of the sign, Dank Burrito owner said. More businesses are chiming in, like the Prime Bistro. Boys, do we need to have a meeting? Sign at EJW's Outdoor expressed a similar set of sentiment. Guys, do we need to talk about it? I think there's over 70 businesses that have chimed in since, Merrill said. Local residents have been keeping track of the so-called sign war on a Facebook group. Merrill said he does not know how long the marquee melee will continue. I have no idea, man. It's interesting. Like I thought it would fizzle out today. People are still posting and gaining traction. Who knows, he said. Turnage said he has no intention of surrendering. I'm going to keep it going as long as I can. So, come on, that's funny, guys. I don't know about you, but I think if I lost bison out of my farm, but then an extra one showed up, I might be a little concerned. 3 bison escaped from Connecticut farm, 4 bison returned. The owner of a Connecticut farm said 3 bison that escaped earlier this week came back on their own with a 4th bison in tow. Amanda Mareshka, whose family owns 3B Ranch in North Branford, said 3 bison escaped by knocking over a section of wire fence on Sunday, and all 3 animals returned to the farm on their own Tuesday night. Mareshko said the returning bovines were accompanied by a newborn baby bison. What we've been kind of saying was that the bison went on maternity leave. The Guilford Police Department held the return of missing bison in a Facebook post. These fluffinators had a few eventful days out,
meeting and greeting the locals, learning about the rules of the road. Everyone knows Buffalo had the right-of-way at every intersection now. And finally, they decided it was time to take a nap in the comforts of their own pasture. Mareshko said she is hoping to involve the public in choosing the name for the bison baby. And you know, every year we come across the story with the Nationwide having their sharing the most unusual pet insurance claims of the year. So, again, year for the Hambone Award. Insurance company Nationwide announced the finalists for this year's Hambone Award, which celebrates the most unusual pet insurance claims of the year. The Hambone Award, named in honor of a dog who ate an entire holiday ham while stuck in a refrigerator, aims to shed light on everyday and sometimes bizarre incidents that can befall our beloved pets. This year's finalists include Archie, a New Jersey dog who injured his paws when he broke through a vintage plate glass door while trying to alert his family of the mail carrier's arrival, and Bear, Pennsylvania Corgi who bit into a bottle of nail adhesive and effectively glued his mouth shut. A New Jersey parrot named Clover also made the list after a growth spurt caused toenails on her feet to hook together. A Florida dog named Irma suffered from gastrointestinal issues that turned out to have been the result of eating metal wire pieces believed to be from a barbecue brush. And a Virginia dog named Gordon swallowed 2 large rocks from her owner's garden. Rounding out the finalists is Lambeau, a North Carolina dog who ate more than 250 jigsaw puzzle pieces. All of the pets nominated for the award have made full recoveries. Members of the public, which the voting is already finished, so you can't vote. But the winner will be announced August the 27th. Every year, the Hambone Award celebrates the recoveries of our pet nominees made possible by dedication of their pet parents and the expertise of their veterinary healthcare teams. We applaud both and continue to focus on supporting them as they provide pets with the care they need. Since voting is closed, the link that is down below, you can go look at those pets that are nominated. And of course, you know, next week I'll be presenting the award. I'll be telling you who won. You remember that Boba Fett figure that I talked about? Do you have any idea how much it sold for? Would you think maybe 500,000? How about 1.3 million? Ultra-rare Star Wars Boba Fett figure sells for record-breaking $1.34 million. An extremely rare prototype Boba Fett action figure, made for Kenner's Star Wars line in 1979, sold for a record-breaking $1,342,000. Golden Auction said the Kenner 1979 J-Slot version 2 rocket-firing mailer prototype Boba Fett, which never made it to market, is now the most expensive toy ever sold, the most expensive action figure ever sold, and the most expensive non-prop Star Wars-related item ever sold. The auctioneer said it is only one of 30 ever produced. It is the highest graded example of the 3 known to still exist and is the first to be sold at auction. That is crazy. The item is looked at as one of the most important in the hobby, said Ken Golder, founder and CEO of Golden. This is the first time a mailer J-Slot V2 missile example has come up for auction, making this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to own this iconic piece of the Star Wars franchise. Now, there is no link for that story at all. This next one kind of breaks my heart because I have seen this house, and it was an amazing house. Neighbors lament loss of iconic Highland Park mansion. The home at the corner of Bristol Road and Beverly Drive, built in 1912, was considered the most prominent example of Gilded Age architecture in Dallas. Members of the nonprofit Preservation Park Cities organization say the tearing down of an Italian Renaissance mansion marks a significant loss for the architectural history of North Texas. Large construction and equipment was on the site at 4101 Beverly Drive on Friday, continuing to tear down the mansion, which had begun on Thursday. According to PPC, the mansion was built in 1912 and represents the most prominent example of Gilded Age architecture in Dallas. Greg Meldy is a preservation architect and a longtime resident of Highland Park and is part of the Preservation Park Cities. It's a huge loss to the community. It's sad because of its historic significance. According to the Alexander Architectural Archives at the University of Texas Libraries, the mansion was designated by the Hubble and Green architectural firm for A&T and Rose Uri Lloyd. Meld says most neighbors knew it as Cox Mansion, which prominent Dallas businessman Edwin L. Cox owned until his death in 2020. Dallas billionaire Andy Beal purchased the mansion for a reported $41 million in 2021, with stated plans to renovate it. Request, boy, that's a hard word to say today. Requests for comment from Bill's office were not immediately returned. We were encouraged when we heard there was going to be a renovation. There is no historic preservation ordinances in the park cities, meaning private property owners can preserve a historic structure or tear it down and start over. By contrast, the City of Dallas does have a landmark commission that has helped in the designation of historic districts, including Swiss Avenue, Munger Place, and Winnetka Heights, allowing a path for preservation. Real estate agent Douglas Newby told our content partners at the Dallas Morning News in 2021 the Beverly and Preston location serves as the epicenter of Highland Park. Melt says he's all for a homeowner making their own decisions on their property, but hopes the loss of the mansion will perhaps serve as momentum to protect structures of architectural importance that are seen as assets for the entire community. It's kind of all our landmark in a way. Even though we weren't in the building, we passed by it. It was a very significant place. Now, get a drink here. Allergies are bad today. Sorry about that, folks. In my community, there is a Grange Fair. The Center County Grange Fair is one of those that every year there is a very week-long party in a sense of all kinds of fair-like things. The admission you get, you pay for a parking. Normally it's like $7 a day.
Then you pay to get into the fair, which is $8. But during that whole time, all the events are free because you paid for that pass. They do have usually each night there is a concert each evening, and it's usually someone that is pretty high up there in their, in the country, like Aaron Tippin, Ann Wilson, trying to think of some of the other ones. And of course, this year, Garth Brooks had made a little video that he put on Facebook and TikTok, I think, and Instagram, talking about the Grange Fair and that he would be seeing them soon. So there was scuttlebutt that he might show up. I don't know if he ever did. But at this Grange Fair, it has been going on. This is the 150th year of this Grange Fair. And it's very interesting, the history. So, they went in search of the most uniquely decorated tents at the Grange Fair. Families own tents at this Grange Fair, and they generally pass those tents on, the spot anyway, tents, to their other family members when they pass on or get too old for it. There are waiting lists for those that aren't passed on to family members and just, the person dies and there's that spot. But the waiting list is like, I think someone said 30 years long. So it's rather interesting. The Center County Grange Encampment and Fair has a lot to offer. An abundance of food items, farm animals, carnival games, and rides await every visitor. But the most unique thing about the Grange Fair may be its tents and the decorations that adorn them. If you've watched Creative Grandma's video where she had talked about the blue ribbons at the Grange Fair, that is one of the things that's featured in the Grange Fair each year, some of these competitions. Now celebrating its 150th year anniversary, the Grange Fair is not just the only tenting fair in Pennsylvania, but it markets itself as the only remaining tenting fair in the nation. For 9 days every summer, 1,000 tents are pitched on the fairgrounds, with some families holding on to their tenting spots for decades. The tents come in a plain forest green color, but each year a theme is announced by the fair committee that families can try to match when decorating their tents. They choose to do so. Fittingly, this year's theme is Celebration of the Fair's 150th anniversary. On Monday, we took a trip to this year's Grange Fair on the hunt for some of the most uniquely decorated tents. And there is an article to one of the papers, and you can go view the pictures, some of those tents. There is also a link to a small blurb that one of the news channels did that's on YouTube. So they chose 6 tents, and these are those tents. The first one is Sandy Mansfield decorated her family tent to honor the 150th anniversary. Sorry about that. Battery died. Anyway, one of the first tents they looked at was Sandy Mansfield, and she decorated the family tent to honor the 150th anniversary of the Grange Fair with the timeline, harvest monument photos, and in the evening, a video featuring fireworks. Their tent, Sandy Mansfield is from Rhode Island, and her family has been coming to the Grange Fair for decades. So she thought it would be appropriate to decorate the family tent with the history of the past fairs. So that was an interesting thing to see.
There are a lot of interesting things that she had. The next tent that they chose was Patty Bird's. She enjoys the porch of her family's tent that was decorated with sunflowers and butterflies. Family butterfly sisters Patty Bird and Mary Johnston decorated their tent a little differently than Mansfield, as their tent has butterflies, flowers, and fall leaves strewn tastefully across the entryway. These decorations are not just for looks, it does have a significance to them. 25 years ago, they had a dear family member pass away, and right before she left this world, she told us that she'd come back to visit us in the form of a butterfly. Ever since that day, whenever any one of us is having a bad day, lo and behold, there's always a butterfly somewhere. She's always with us, and this is just another great way for them to honor her. The next one is an out-of-place outhouse. This belongs to the Rogers family. A Rogers family decided to honor their anniversary in a very unorthodox way. There are no smells coming from this latrine, but they have a wooden outhouse outside of their tent. It's only a prop that was used once in the family's decorations in previous year. The outhouse, as she said, has been a really big hit. She's received a lot of positive comments. We've used the outhouse as a prop before, and the first time we did it, we got a lot of attention. So we thought we would bring it back for another round at the fair. They even had a couple of people ask if they could use it. Oh. But you can't use it because they have nailed the latrine door shut, so you can't use it. The next one are wooden family cutouts by the Scherer family tent. You're expected to be greeted by the smiling faces of 8 wooden cutouts, lined up in front of a white fence with a gate, and each one is decorated by either the great-grandchild themselves or their parents. They do feature their great-grandchildren in those cutouts. But a few years ago, they started out those cutouts as scarecrows. Family decided to transition the cutouts for more sturdiness, so they have added that in and the family in the decoration. Next one is a flamingo fiesta. This is bright pink flamingo decorations displayed at every corner of the tent. This is Michelle Lane's family tent, and it's hard to miss it. While it isn't the most traditional theme-adhering tent, it is without a doubt, you can't miss it, especially if you enjoy seeing unique tents. Their tent decorations with the flamingo started years ago on a whim, and she decided that it was needed to give the family a bit more color. They've been doing this for years. They just add more flamingos to it. And the final tent is Marcia Tate and the Tate family. It's decked out to the nines with Grange Fair memories and memorabilia. The family has been in attendance at all 150 Grange Fairs. They've collected a lot of the fair artifacts over the years, and so they decided to put those up as a milestone of this anniversary. So the tent is decorated to honor that. And the family basically said, well, we don't decorate for every year's fair theme. This year was a bit more special, so we decided to go out. Some of the other things that can be found in their tent not only are pictures of past fairs, tents, memorabilia, that kind of thing. But several Christmas trees decorated with farm animal plushies and livestock ribbons won in the past years, a chest tie Snoopy inflatable, and light strands lining the edges of the tent. And there you have it. That is What in Tarnation. Hope you enjoyed that little bit there. So now, we are moving on to the devotional, which is Promises from God's Heart. This is a book I picked up in Ollie's years ago. Promises from God's Heart for His provision. Young lions lack food and go hungry, but those who seek the Lord will not lack any good thing. Psalm 34:10. Bring the full tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. And thereby put me to the test, says the Lord of hosts. If I will not open the windows of heaven for you and pour down for you a blessing, till there is no more need. Malachi 3:10. He waters the mountains from his palace. He causes grass to grow for the livestock, and provides crops for man to cultivate, producing food from the earth and bread that sustains man's heart. Psalm 104:13 through 15. And my God will meet all your needs according to the riches of his glory in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:19. This is one of my favorites. Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to those who are bound, to give them a beautiful headdress instead of ashes, the oil of gladness instead of mourning, the garment of praise instead of a faint spirit, that they may be called oaks of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he may be glorified. Isaiah 61:1-3. And that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it was fairly short, but didn't get a lot accomplished other than bamboo. But I will post some pictures of the bamboo that I've been cutting so that you can see that bamboo and see what it looks like once it's cut down. And this is about 2 weeks worth of growth. So it grows fast. And I can't cut it fast enough. All right, guys, that is it for today. I'll see you again soon, everybody. Remember to be kind to one another. And don't let those donkeys and elephants drive us nuts. Depart. I mean, we'll have a new election in 4 years. All right? See you guys soon. Bye.